Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm so happy to see you all again, although it is just online today. I'm the facilitator today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dave Chen, and I'm the convener of Enterprise Architecture Specialist Group, EASG, and the Director of Talent Cultivation of Hong Kong Computer Society. Today, this webinar is co-organized by Hong Kong Computer Society, EASG, and also the Singapore Computer Society EA chapter, Enterprise Architecture chapter. This is our first collaboration. I'm so happy for that. On behalf of HKCS and SCS, I'm delighted to welcome you all to this webinar. The topic today we are going to explore is to implement digital EA roadmaps for business continuity. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are all suffering constraints and challenges imposed on society and even people's life. However, we all know that necessity is the mother of invention, right? Trying to look at the bright side of the darkness, it also forces many of us to rethink our daily lives, from work to school to entertainment even. According to a survey recently released by the business publishing company Get Abstract, nearly 43% of full-time American employees say that they want to work remotely more often, even after the economy has reopened. So it has been imperative to rethink our business model for the future by boosting or fast-tracking digital transformation in your organization. We should probably using this time to accelerate the digital adoption timeline, which will lead to drive business continuity. Digital transformation is no longer an option and becomes the hottest initiative in every organization. However, without current and the future enterprise views, it becomes very hard to manage the transition from the current state and to your future operating state. That's why EA governance play a very key important role in the digital age. It is our honor today to have Mr. Aaron Tan, you should see his face later, who is the president of Enterprise Architecture Chapter, Singapore Computer Society, and also the chairman of IASA Asia Pacific. As an industry thought leader in the IT architecture arena, he has built close connection with the industry leaders and government bodies in the respective APAC countries, give him the edge in the latest technology landscape. In this seminar, we will try to find the answer on how EA help us minimize the impact to external shocks like this pandemic. Also learning some basic digital EA methodology, that is the digital map for business continuity, and also explore EA framework that can help overcome the digital transformation challenges. So for those who have joined us, you are feel free to leave your questions. You should see the Q&A button in your Zoom. And you can leave your questions, feel free. And we will pick your questions and ask Aaron after the presentation during the Q&A session. Okay, it's good. So I should pass the screen to Aaron. Aaron, please, I'll give you a big hand.
Let me just turn on my slide. I believe you all can see my slide now. So very good morning to all of you. I think it is my pleasure to be able to continue sharing about what I believe in the enterprise architecture. And of course, thank you very much to Dave that I know him, I think his effort in Hong Kong. I remember he shared that the first time he ran enterprise architecture gathering is like 10 people. After that, the numbers have been going up year on year in the last 10 years or more. So it is very, very encouraging. And I have seen the same trend is happening in all the countries all over the world. In the past, I mean, when people talk about enterprise architecture, it's nice to have, but most of the time is that I don't have time to look into the architecture because I got a list of the project that I need to do. So that one is more tangible, whereby enterprise architecture is too abstract. And of course, the other side is that many enterprise architecture implementation also doesn't really deliver enough value for the businesses to continue and fostering enterprise architecture. But in the last 5 to 10 years, I would say, because of the forces in the digital transformation, the enterprise architecture is getting the momentum, is getting the ground again. Because we have seen, according to the statistic, if you just Google and find out, about 60 to 70% digital transformation initiative already failed. So this is something that is very, very discouraging. And this is something that is very shocking because economy, the world is moving towards digital. But why the digital transformation is still failing? So enterprise architecture is unlocking the answer about why this is still happening. So hopefully my presentation in the next 1 to 1.5 hours will be able to address why enterprise architecture is very, very strategic for any enterprises to embark on. And I think for this joint collaboration between Hong Kong Computer Society and Singapore Computer Society, that already put the stamp into why enterprise architecture is very important. Because Hong Kong and Singapore are leading in terms of the Asia Pacific economy and also driving force of the world economy. Let me just begin my presentation. So basically, I think most of us prior to the February, life is normal. I haven't come across anything that I have seen in the last 2 to 3 months as what we have experienced today. Because we cannot have freedom to even go out from our house. I understand that Hong Kong already opened up the economy, but like Singapore, Malaysia, and etc. are still under lockdown. So we don't have a freedom. Suddenly our freedom is taken out from our right as a human. Because why? The pandemic, COVID-19, I think we all know, has already struck our world. The whole economy in the world is affected, and we have to be able to live our new norm. So what do you mean by our new norm? Even our work, we still need to have a living. We have to work from something, the hits. Yeah. So there are three possibilities here. Of course, work from home. Those of you who can work from home without any disruption, you already have the good business continuity. But how much you can do from home? Can you do work from home as the same amount of work like you do in the office? And if you can do that, that means you work for happiness, business as usual, no impact. But some of us, the home is not home, work from hell. We can't do things much, everything is impacted. So our livelihood, our businesses, our colleagues, our job are all impacted. So how can now we are aiming to get work from home and work for happiness? How enterprise architecture can help? So this is the context of my presentation. The next one is on the digital transformation initiative. So this is what happened that if I can give you into a graphical about why many of the digital transformation initiative already failed in the last 5 years. Because what they do is that they just rename the existing project the way they are doing in the last 20 years in terms of the computerization with the word digital. Will that work? Somehow, some work and most of them don't work. Why? Because they don't have the visibility about the initiative. What they think is that, I think we need to do this initiative and I name it the word digital on it. Because without the word digital, my finance, my businesses will not approve it. So at the end of the day, you have many, many digital islands and many, many duplication, like you can see in this diagram. So how can we prevent this? And the message is very, very loud and clear. Transforming digitally means working differently. So what happened is that the era of computerization has ended in 2010, and we are started from 2010 onwards, we are entering the era of digital. And now we are already 10 years into the digital world, which is 2020. But our way of thinking, the method of we are adopting the technology or implementing the IT project it is still the same like 20 years ago in the era of computerization. And that is the root cause of why many digital transformation initiative today hit the roadblock and they cannot continue because they never thought the complexity that are facing them right now. So this is what a very good diagram presented by Gartner. if you can focus on the right-hand side here, Gartner portrayed that in the era of the digital, they have a complexity, humongous complexity about inside out, outside in, outside out. Basically, it's like the map. I want to lead you into the digital enterprise map. So basically, if you don't have the map to navigate, you don't know the impact. If you change particular process, if you update particular system, if you change the function of the department, what is the impact to others department, other people, other processes, and other application in the enterprise? Do you know that impact right now? Of course, if you are given times like 6 months, you can understand all the impact. But the management said, I need it by this afternoon or maybe today before lunchtime. So you only have about half an hour to give them the answer. How do you answer that? So this is something quite striking. And interestingly, these pictures actually is happening. Gartner issued this statement in the 2014 about 6 years ago. About 6 years ago, and the Gartner predict on the 2025 evolving from enterprise to ecosystem of the enterprise architecture adoption. But at the time, Gartner never thought about COVID-19, and today we are in the COVID-19 pandemic. I think the 2025 actually is 2020, so has been brought forward 5 years ahead of what is being predicted. So now it is very, very difficult for enterprise without clear visibility about the impact, about decision they make, for the company to make a very strategic decision. Yeah, so let me continue. This is interestingly last year. Last year, Gartner made a prediction. Hope you can see the slide here. In the 2019, Gartner has predicted that enterprise architecture will act as an internal management consultancy. This is something very, very interesting because management consultancy has been the discipline by themselves. So this one typically is those organizations that are providing the vision, the direction, the strategic goal for the enterprise moving forwards. So now, Gartner predicted in 2019, so for those of you who have established your enterprise architecture, you should have performed your EA as an internal management consultancy. That is very, very important because what happened that management consultancy driving the vision, the mission, and also the strategic goal of the enterprise. And one thing I want to highlight in this slide is that enterprise architecture also going through up and down in the last 20 years or more. So you can see that 2012 was so-called the slump of the enterprise architecture. That was about 8 years ago. But now I think the enterprise architecture has picked up the ground, has moved into the exponential rate because I can sense that in the last two to 3 years, the enterprise architecture adoption has dominated many of the enterprise and in fact the senior management decision. So let me continue with the 2020. So this 2020 is where the Gartner made a prediction again. This is actually this year, and this Gartner when made this prediction actually is early this year before the pandemic. So Gartner said that EA will enable the intelligent organization. So this is very, very interesting. What do you mean by intelligent? Intelligent means if someone claim that he or she is a very intelligent person, you basically can ask anything about topics to this person, and this person can give their view. So how can now EA enable the intelligent organization? How do we realize this intelligent organization? Of course, the word intelligent in our layman term, they call it smart. The people implementing smart city, people implementing smart factory, smart enterprise, and etc. So how can we achieve or realize this intelligent organization? Basically, there must be something, the knowledge that the enterprise architecture should carry. So you can ask enterprise architecture repository or the artifacts or architecture view to give you the snapshot of the enterprise, and from there you can make a strategic, intelligent decision. So the rest of my presentation, I'll be sharing with you how can we make an intelligent organization based on what Gartner predict 2020 this year. So this is basically, we understood the era of computerization has ended in 2010, and we are now in 2020. So most of us here, I believe, are digital migrants, because none of us now 10 years old. If you are 10 years old in this conference, then you are born native digital. So most of us are migrant. So in the word of migrant means we have to unlearn and relearn a new thing. Because in the world of the digital, as you can see here in the diagram, that business and technology work together, integrated and connected. So we need to work into one. I will explain to you in the next couple of slides on this. But in the meantime, now I want you to think, how can we face these enterprise challenges today? Let me read out for you. What are the impact of our strategic drivers and challenges? Can we answer that if senior management asking us today? What are the gaps in our current capability? Do we have capability map? If not, we cannot answer this question. How to identify opportunity for our transformation? This is also very, very strategic question. How can we give this answer almost instantly? Second category of question is that what capabilities are required for today for us to continue our business? How can we optimize our resources? Do you know all the roles and responsibility in our organization? And what are they connected with the new capability to sustain or retire existing capability by leveraging technology? Do we have that answer today? Has ever your senior management asked you about this question? The third category is that how should we build transit and retire system to achieve a sustainable investment portfolio? We have many systems in the past that we have built in the last 20, 30 years. Now the management asking, which one is the sustainable to support our investment portfolio? And what are the right mix of existing and new capabilities, and when the right time for the implementation? How do we answer all this? If we have, this is connected to what Gartner says as an intelligent organization. So if your EA are already fully functioning, you can almost answer all these questions instantly. Almost means few hours. It's not like few days or few months or few weeks. Yeah. Then the next one, of course, they got many other questions that we have to answer if you want to be intelligent. If EA function as the enable intelligent organization, what is the impact of different strategic scenario? Can we answer that? Because we have the multiple strategy, what if we change parameter of our strategy? How does that impact our enterprise today? Which businesses impacted? Which department impacted? Which application impacted? Which processes impacted? What does our customer experience look like? Do we have that map? I need to know that because I heard recently quite a number of complaints. So I need to know exactly what is my customer experience looks like when they're interfacing with us. And what is the right balance between change and control? What are the expected cost and benefit for initiative? Which regulations are applicable? What is the impact of change of an adjusted business model? So if we change the parameter of our business model, what is the impact of change to our organization? And I need to know what are the list of the impacted area. Could be the department, process, function, application, and etc. How do my project interrelate? What if I terminate one project? Can the other project also run? So these are the questions that we need to be able to answer. How can we reduce IT complexity and costs? Which capabilities are required for change? How do we prepare for future changes? How can we optimize our current business logic and processes? What is the necessary budget to achieve the desired result level of security? What is the current state of our data? Does every asset have an owner? What are the highest risks and vulnerabilities? Are we compliant with this regulation? Isn't this a very interesting question that typically faced by our senior management, and typically they need the answer almost instantly. So how can we provide this answer? And this answer, unfortunately or fortunately, are interconnected. So we need these answers now. So how can we provide? So this is the opportunity for the enterprise architecture team. If you have implemented the enterprise architecture correctly, you should be able to answer all these questions almost instantly, as I mentioned earlier. Almost. Because what happens is that you need to open your meta model, you need to open your digital repository, and you start analyzing the impact from what you have given the problem statement. All these are the problem statement typically faced by many enterprises. So this is what happened ideally, how EA can realize a digitally connected enterprise. So we typically at the top level in the enterprise, they have what they call it digital strategy. In the past, they call it BSP or ISP. So BSP stands for the business strategic planning, and ISP is IT strategic planning, or what they call it IT plan. So typically, these are the mandate from the senior management. So the senior management typically carry this digital strategy mandate that need to be executed for the certain period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So then, of course, after the strategy is formulated, they need to be implemented, cascade down to the business layer. So we need to know exactly which are the department, which are the function should be able to carry out this strategy. And after that, the last part, the bottom part is if you are working in the IT team, so the IT need to support this strategy. And the technology here playing a critical role. So this is something that is very, very critical. We need to understand that in today's era, we cannot develop our IT plans as a standalone. We cannot develop our business plan as a standalone. We need to develop what we call it digital strategy. So business and IT need to work together to achieve what the direction, the goal, the driver, the enterprise has set. This is what we envision enterprise architecture to be an ever digitally connected enterprise. So basically, any changes at the strategy level, they know which are the business impacted, which are the information impacted, which are the application impacted, which are the infrastructure impacted, and vice versa. In any of the layers change, they should know the impact to other layers. This is what we call it intelligent, isn't it? We need to know exactly what is impacted right now so that we can make the right decision at the very first time. Otherwise, we have to make the right decision after we do it the 20 or 30 times. And we cannot afford to do that in today's era. Everything what we do need to be accurate. Whatever the decision that we make, we need to have a minimal impact to the organization. So this is the pictures of the digitally connected enterprise to support an intelligent enterprise. And this is also another practice that many organizations, they come out with the digital strategy and they go straight into the digital transformation. Actually, digital transformation is no different with another typical IT project. So I have met with a couple of the organizations that said their digital transformation project, they got about 100 initiatives. So actually, when I look at it, actually another 100 IT projects. And this is not acceptable. In the today digital era, digital transformation need to enable a connected enterprise. So we cannot carry out the way we used to do in the past by executing another IT project. So what we need to do is that we need to have the number two, the bottom part. We need to have enterprise architecture. With the enterprise architecture, we can understand the impact of the strategy. We can understand the impact of the business layer. We can understand the impact happening in the data layers, in the application layer, in the technology layers. After we understood all the impact, after we study the traceability and also the impacted area, then we can execute the transformation as our new initiative. This is the right thing to do. That many enterprises today, they don't do this. They typically go straight from the strategy right away to the transformation and they pass it to the IT team. Some they outsource. So what they need to do a correction moving forward is that they need to develop the digital enterprise map. So from there, they understand, they comprehend the whole impact on the enterprise, and then on, they can do the digital transformation initiative. So what I have described earlier can be drilled down into the more detail. So what I meant just now by digitally connected enterprise actually can be realized in this diagram. So if we don't have the enterprise architecture in place, typically we just go straight into the number 3 at the bottom here. If you can see, this is a typical life of a PMO or IT team. So they run multiple projects. After that, they got multiple service level agreement to support to run. So if you continue like this, then your transformation will have little value. So what you need to do actually, you need to connect between the strategy, business strategy and IT strategy at the top layers. So to connect all the senior management, their concern, their drivers, to unite them. Then from there, you do the enterprise architecture analysis. in terms of the understanding the business impact, the information impact, the application impact, the technology impact. So all the impact that you have gathered in the number 2 when you're doing the digital enterprise architecture, the word digital here means is that enterprise architecture today is run digitally. It's not run by Excel spreadsheet or Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, because it's with that traditional approach using the PowerPoint, Word, or Excel, you cannot make a strategic decision. So you need to have a very good digital platform, digital tool, for you to analyze all this impact in the business, information, application, and technology gaps. Then from there, you execute all the gaps, you filling up all the gaps with the IT project or technology project, or what you call it, transformation project. So I hope this slide gives you a new perspective on why many organizations already gone wrong. They go straight from the number 1 straight to number 3, and they put number 2 somehow inside the project 1 or project 2, project 3, and project 4, etc. Yeah, so this is something very, very critical to do correction if you want to do transformation right for the very first time. This is another model in terms of our enterprise complexity today. So if we layer our enterprise, we split on the innovation, capability, knowledge, people, process, and technology. It's as complex as this. And typically, all these layers are they are by native, don't work together. They are by native, work in tension. So what do I mean by work in tension? Basically, they have office politics in between the layers. And you know what happened with the office politics? It's very, very difficult to go through, because it involves a people ego, it involves a people pride, whereby the organization still have to share, to move, to force everybody to work together. So this is the nature of many enterprises today. So how can we break through this layer? How can we break through these political walls so that we can work together moving forward to realize our transformation? So on here, I am going to create a digital twin. If you see at the bottom there, got the digital twin word there. Basically, we are trying to create a digital model of our enterprise today. And from there, we start doing the transformation at the model. So once the transformation is logical, is accepted at the model layers, then we can implement it into our digital transformation initiative. So how do we start? The starting point, typically, we will start with the motivation and strategy layers. So this is what also aligned with what Gartner predict in the 2019, that enterprise will perform as a consultancy management management consultancy team to advise the senior management. So this is where the motivation is, that we capture what are the concerns of the key stakeholders, what are their KPI, what are their drivers, what are their goals, what are their requirements. Then from there, they got the yellow part here, which about we are looking at the strategy modeling. By the way, for those of you who are not familiar with these boxes actually is the representation of the Archimate. So Archimate is the notation or the enterprise language, enterprise modeling language, which is very, very powerful. It can model the motivation, the driver, the strategy of the enterprise. So this is the first thing first that we need to do. We need to understand the impact, or what are so-called the concern, the issue, the challenges, the problem statement of key stakeholders. Then from there, once we understood the motivation and strategy layer, we go down into the business layer. So here, the business layer, we are trying to understand what is our organization structure today. What are the roles and responsibility of a current setting? What are the function, the processes, the services that is happening? What are our products, our contract, etc. So we need to know the impact from the motivation strategy layer to our business layer. Once the business layer is finalized, we understand the gap, what are things need to change. Then we look at the technology. Which are the technology currently impacted? How can we invest in the better technology, in the new technology? So this is basically about the how can we now drive latest digital technology that we can adopt in order to enable our business to move towards a better maturity, as well as to fulfill the strategy and the vision mission of the senior management. Then from there, we look at the technology layers about our cloud infrastructure, about our data center, our throughput, and etc. Then we also look at the information or data layer. This is very, very important. From here, we can understand what are the information matter the most to the business, what are the information matter the most to the senior key stakeholders, and also how the application and the infrastructure supporting our information flow. So this is what we need to do. And the last part is where we also map our implementation of project layer, because what happened is that we need to know the impact of all our digital transformation initiatives. So digital transformation initiative execution happening at the bottom layer. So with this, hope you can see the real map, how the enterprise architecture itself can help driving successful digital transformation, because we have a visibility, we know exactly the impact. So in the typical layman term, this is what we call it GPS. If you go travel to a new country that you don't speak the language, and today in the today era, it's not an issue because you can turn on your mobile phone. Then from there, you can also ask the Google in your own language, and the Google can translate it. So now in the enterprise, who can translate your question? So if you have this enterprise architecture set up correctly, the digital enterprise architecture repository will be able to answer exactly the question in the earlier presentation that I was splashing multiple questions. So this is the answer to it. And of course, for every of the block here, there will be a parameters. So the parameter will allow you to enter the attributes and the value for us to be presented into the dashboard for the senior management. So the next of presentation, I will be answering these 5 questions as a so-called a use case for us to how can we apply enterprise architecture, how EA can address and support our business continuity. So the first question will be what value stream and flow of information in our enterprise. So how can enterprise architecture answer this? The second one is what capabilities do we have? What interdependency among business unit roles and responsibility? And number 4 is about what business services, function, and processes are taking place in our enterprise. So I will be sharing with you all these example questions, how the enterprise architecture can answer all these questions. And lastly is about what application and technology landscape that support our business landscape. With that, let me just share with you a video, about a 3 minutes video about why do we need enterprise architecture today.
Term 30 years ago was organization structure, org structure. Okay, but I want to have the digital map that I can ask. So if I tell you that you are Mr. So and you are from that department, so can I just open digital map? I want to know what is your role, and I can also find out which are the department that you are working closely in your enterprise. Okay, and I can also find out what actually your SOP, your day-to-day job. Okay, are you approving? If yes, you're who approving it? What processes do you do? And after that, I also want to know which IT system that's supporting that. Okay, if you can give me that answer in 5 minutes, you don't need EA. Done. Many people said EA is a project. I have done my EA 3 years ago. Here are the proof, right? And most of the case is that the EA that they have done is in a static book, okay, static deliverable. As soon as you printed that static book, immediately obsolete. The second part, many people think EA is can eliminate the complexity. Okay, the fact is not the word eliminating, but is managing. Okay, how can now we manage that complexity and we do better than the rest? The third one, of course, people say that enterprise architecture is only for IT team. Okay, that is totally the myth. It was correct 20 years ago. You talk about architecture word, pass it to the IT team. But now, the enterprise architecture involve, the stakeholders, key stakeholders, the decision maker. Then involve a motivation of all the divisional head and also strategy, capability of the business. If the company don't have this type of so-called adoption on the architecture concept, they will not go anywhere, because the world is moving very, very fast. So how fast can you respond? That is the question that we need to ask. With the EA, you can respond it quite quickly, because you know exactly that I need to change my entire product offering, and the digital map will tell you, like the GPS, right? It tell you, okay, these are 20 processes impacted, these are 3 departments impacted, these are the IT system that need to change, and you quickly make a decision within a day. What are you going to do? Without EA, you still can make a decision that may take weeks or months, depending on how big is your enterprise. Moving forward, the complexities and the digital complexity is exponential, and there must be some way to manage this, and you cannot do it the way we used to do it in the past. The benefit is that networking, I think, is very, very important. We believe that we can learn. I don't think we claim that we know everything. That's why we need to get the input from the industry, and they can do some validation, like check and balance.
Okay, so let me address the question number 1. What value stream and flow of information in our enterprise? So how can enterprise architecture addressing the first question? So let me just begin by defining what is a value stream. So value stream, basically all the activity that we do typically is the connected end-to-end collection of activity that results in a happy customer. Yeah, so basically the goal is that when you have a value stream well defined in your organization, you will be unlikely to receive any customer complaint. So when your customer have a lot of complaint, meaning your value stream are not integrated, are not connected. So this is the so-called the pictures analogy on the what happened in the value stream. So typically an organization is that you have the external parties, you have your vendors or suppliers that you take your material, your raw material. Then after that, you process it to offer our new product and services to your client. So what we call it enterprise value stream. Then if you are doing it correctly, then your customer and client will be happy. So no issue. But when you have some problem in your value stream, not only customer not happy, but your internal team also will be not happy. Because what happened is that they will also blame to each other. So internal team also, they will be very upset, and then you can have the high turnover, and basically they also play politics, and they say that your process that caused my process to have this. So there'll be many blaming chains happening if you don't have a proper value stream defined. So it's very, very important to get it right, the value stream. And interestingly, the value stream also can be defined in the Archimate. So the Archimate have the symbol. So if you see the symbol, the arrow like this is the universal symbol of the value stream. So in this example is that the value stream about the producing the steel. First, you need to procure the raw materials. Then you need to manufacture, store the product, sell the product, and you go to the distribution of product. So all these need to be interconnected properly. So in order for you to have the interconnected properly, every value stream also need to attach the value. So the value will be used as the motivation to a particular stakeholders. And every value stream need to be supported by the capability. So in the enterprise is that everything are interconnected. So you may well be defining a very comprehensive value stream, but if your capability weak, you have some issue in delivering value stream. Because if you can see here in the second part, market and sell product, so marketing and the sales and distribution need to work hand in hand. Otherwise, you can sell the product online, but after that, the fulfillment is an issue. Because why? The distribution is manual. We cannot tell the customer when am I going to receive the product. And interestingly, of course, in today now, Actually, I've ordered quite a number of the product online, and I asked them when can arrive. They said they don't know. It depend on the logistic fulfillment. So basically, they are not integrated. They are still a piecemeal, another island, and you can't answer. And of course, if the volume is big and then customer is very angry, they will cancel all the order. So all these are very, very important, the capability that you might have to support your value stream. Then the next one is information flow. For the enterprise to be able to get the decision, remember just now we call it about the intelligent organization. So the information need to be flowing from one department to another department, in and out, across and within various entities, be it internal or external. External means if you are outsourcing to the third-party vendor, you need to flow that information out so that they can integrate the external vendor or system can be integrated to yours, so that you can give a snapshot on the status to your customer. Yeah. So information flow help to understand what information matters most to the business. This is very, very important. And this one actually the job of the both business architect and information architect. So information architect and business architect both need to understand and need to model how the information flow within the organization. So this is the example on the how the information flow. In this instance, actually, is taken from the Archimate case study on the Archisurance, basically about the insurance that they are using the enterprise architecture, Archimate and TOGAF to model their business. So in this instance is that we can see how the finance flow the information to the data center in the customer relation. So they are putting, they're giving the customer credit assessment and then customer credit analysis requirement from the customer relation back to the finance for the decision making. And likewise to the customer. So the customer can inquiry. Then after that, they can send it the contact and then can, we can offer something, they can order and then the order information and can do invoicing. So all this flow of information, we need to map properly between the sales to the logistic, to the production, to the procurement. And after we define this, then we look at the gaps typically in the how we do enterprise architecture. We need to know why actually our sales and the production order are not, the information are not automatic or are not integrated seamlessly. They still have to use email or update Excel spreadsheet that sometimes some of the records are missing, etc. So from there, we can understand, we can analyze what are the things that we need to improve. So the job of architect are very, very demanding, I would say. You need to have this type of map. And by the way, this type of map is not static. So each of the line here, you can query, you can ask, what is actually, where are you from? What actually the impact if I remove you? So all these are what we call it a meta model. So the meta model of enterprise architecture is very, very important. Remember the word digital twin? So we need to have this map handy. So when the senior management asking us, so what happened with the current situation about the complaint in the production, from sales to the production? These two departments are in the high tension today because sales blame the production department, production blame the sales department. Let me analyze. So you can open this production center map and you can understand why is this happening. And from here, you can also drill down to the roles, to the processes, and etc. So if you have this, we can, in fact, like now in the today in the COVID-19 era, we can just open up the map at home to analyze this, and we can do a conference like this and updating the key stakeholders on what's going on. We don't need to go into the production flow and observe the actual execution, although we might need to do that after we understand the map. Yeah. So this is a very, very important and powerful information that we need to have at hand. Same thing from here, like just now I mentioned. So from here, we can know that we can suggest to the senior management, I think we need to add this customer relationship management at the headquarters so that to handle this flow of information. And also we need to enhance this between customer relation and finance department. And also we need to enhance between the commercial function with the sales function so that we can have the closed loop of information. As you can see here, if you have the enterprise architecture mapped properly, you can straight away analyze and model the new target architecture that's filling up the gap. If you don't, trust me,
you will not be able to solve this. You can maybe take 6 months. When you are going down to every department, every department will not tell you the truth, maybe half the truth, because they need to protect their interests because of the political office politics taking place. So it's very, very difficult to do transformation. But if you have enterprise architecture, you see here, from this model, you analyze after you understand the situation, and you can propose a new model almost instantly. Shouldn't be taking too long, because you have the right tool for you to make a right decision. Of course, to get it right, to do this, you need to have a proper EA framework. You need to define the right EA meta model. Yeah, so the meta model hold the relationship, interconnectivity, interdependency, impact of your enterprise. So the second question is about what business capability do we have? So how can we answer this with enterprise architecture? Let me give you an example on this company. They call it ABC company. So typically in this ABC company, they got multiple line of business. They got operation, sales, finance, human resource, and every of the line of business, they have another subdivision. Yeah, like a product development, distribution, and purchasing for operation, and etc. So this is where typically an organization need to map the capability. Many organizations have the organization structure, but they don't really have their capability map. As an enterprise architect today, if you want to deliver an intelligent organization, we need to have or define a business capability map. So this is what, if we break down again from just now, all the function and all the division in the typical company, we can break down into another next level in terms of the capability. Yeah? So this is basically the example of the operation capability. We have capital management, policy management, product management, government relations management, and etc. Likewise, for human resource, they got HR management. So we need to look at defining this capability for each and every line of business. This is very, very important. Then from there, we can do a stratification. We can group which of the capability that are strategic. Strategic means is that giving us a competitive advantage, that we need to do it right. And this is basically our so-called competitive advantage, and also our strategic advantage to our business. Then after that, we split into the core and supporting. So typically, we need to categorize our capability into the strategic, core, and supporting layers. Then from there, we also need to break it up, the capability on the level 1, 2, and 3. Typically, we stop at level 3 because once we go to level 4 and 5, it already go to activities. So like human resource management for level 1, we need to break it up into the level 2, like recruiting management, payroll management, benefit management, and performance management. Then from the example on the level 2 recruiting management, we can break it up into the level 3, like position management, candidate sourcing, and reference checking. This is very, very important for capability to be broken down into layers, into the appropriate layers, because we need to understand exactly which are the capability that we are talking about at which layer. Then from there, we need to map that capability to support our value stream. So the value stream that we have defined earlier need to be supported by the capability. Then from there, we can also do the heat mapping. As you can see here, they got the traffic light symbol from the green, yellow, and red. So green means we are very good. Our capability is quite strong. And yellow means somehow lacking of capability. We can do in some situation, but we cannot do in others. Red means we are totally very, very weak. So this is actually the yellow and the red are the opportunity for enterprise architects to look into improving this capability properly moving forward. Because if this capability weak and we know the impact to the business is also negative, so we need to turn this into a positive impact of the capability. Then the next question is that what interdependency among business unit role and responsibility. So this is another example on the collaboration, because typically in the organization we also need to do cross-selling. So in this instance, typically about selling insurance, as you can see here, there are two types of collaboration. The first one is the luggage insurance sales and the medical insurance sales. So basically, this one is about travel. When you are traveling, you also want to offer, instead of the medical insurance, You also want to offer additional benefit like luggage insurance in case the luggage was lost or stolen or defect during the transit. So how can we do that? So this is what model of the example. The collaboration between luggage insurance department and the medical insurance department. If you see on the extreme left and extreme right, two departments with their respective roles collaborate together to provide a single offering to our client. So we also need to model this type of collaboration, because what happens is that if any point that impacted, we know exactly coming from which department or which role, because all these also connected with the capability, with the outcome, with the process, and etc. The same thing with the number 3, interdependency in business unit roles and responsibility. This is actually about providing a single seamless contact center. So if you ever go into the particular company, if you say, oh, I want to inquire about that product, someone tell you, oh, Aaron, if you want to inquire about that product, can you go to second floor? As a client, I don't think we can accept that. Why? Because they got the silent. But if you have an integrated contact center like this, they know exactly which one to channel. So they know exactly, oh, you want to inquire about that product? Okay, can you give me your customer ID? Then they should be able to pull the information properly, as you can see in this diagram. So we are providing single interfaces to our client, because to our client is that you are from one company, I should be able to contact to any of you, and you have to give me the support. So this is what the model of the new integrated contact center, instead of the silo in the past. So number 4, about what business services, function, and processes are taking place in our enterprises. So this is also, we need to be able to give the answer if we have implemented the enterprise architecture properly. So this is the example on the particular 3 business function that are assigned to the insurer. So basically, we need to be able to connect and integrate between process and function. And at the end of the day, we want to provide the premium collection service for our client. Yeah. So this is the model that we need to have in place, so that we know which area that we can fine tune, which processes are weak, which function are weak. So we can analyze and provide a unified view in the one shot to our business for decision making. Then another example about the business service function and process interaction. Basically, this is the collaboration between internal and external. About, because the insurance also, they got the insurance agent, how they can also offer an integrated seamless between the travel insurance and the luggage insurance, and also supported by a single help desk. Because to the client is that I don't want to be ping pong. Ping pong mean I ask this question, they transfer to another department transfer to another department. At the end, you said it's enough. This company basically doesn't give a holistic view about the client. Yeah, so this model is exactly addressing how can we offer a unified, seamless experience to our customer. And the last part on the example, the how EA can address and support our business continuity in terms of the, I want to know the application and technology landscape that support our business landscape. So here we need to know the traceability and impact among various enterprise layers. So you have seen this diagram before. So we need to know exactly that if the strategy change, which are the business division impacted, which are the business entity or function process impacted. From then on, I need also to know about the which application impacted, which technology impacted, and which data that I need to change or to integrate or to connect or to extract. And also, what are the ongoing projects that are actually implementing the changes? So if we have this digital enterprise map, what are the benefits out there that we can read? First is that we can make decisions faster. Definitely with the map is that we can decide almost on the fly in terms of that what should we do, because we know the impact of this, and we can straight away classify which are the department, which are the function that we need to talk to. So we can immediately say, let's have a
meeting, online meeting immediately at 2 o'clock, because why? We need to answer, we need to get the feedback directly from the team. Then we also understand the impact analysis, so that we are not anyhow break other than already working. So we know exactly which are the process impacted, function impacted, roles impacted, application impacted. Then we can comprehend and understand the situation at hand, and we can update our senior management on what is the situation. And we understand enterprise dependency, yeah, from the value stream, that we know exactly which are the dependencies before and after. And we can manage complexity, and we can also perform enterprise troubleshooting. What if we change this process? What if we collaborate these two departments together? And of course, the most important is that with this, we can perform the transformation, because transformation is the major effort. Transformation is not about buying a new technology. Transformation is about changing the culture. So when you want to change the culture, you need to know exactly which are the enterprises, division or entities are impacted. And we need to apply change management, like people, process, culture, and etc. And we can carry out the change management program in order for the transformation to be successful. Okay, so this is another example on how the business layer, application layer, technology layers are interconnected. So in here, if we define the particular business layer, we know exactly which are the applications supporting that, so that we can isolate, and we know if you outsource this particular application, we can make a decision what happened with our service level agreement. Likewise, with the infrastructure layer, we know exactly how these are impacted in terms of the transformation that we carry out. Another example is that how can this impact key stakeholders, like the motivation layers? Yeah, in this instance is that the senior management already give the mandate in terms of the requirement. We need to share our back office application for all products, meaning single back office. We don't want to have 4 or 5 duplication in terms of the back office. So in order to do that, we need a policy administration, we need the financial transaction. We also need the whole CRM to be maintained centrally. Then in there, we analyze which are the business layer process that are impacted. Then after that, we look at the application layer, which the application component and services are impacted. Then we also need to know our infrastructure technology layers, because these are all interdependency, because we cannot say that I just want to fulfill what the management trying to do by assigning the job to a particular department. But all in the enterprise is that all the decision that we make, or the decision that we do, will need to be supported by other department, and also will impact other department. This is another example on the typical board management. So in this context is that the senior board management, they have a driver like a sales target, and also a stakeholder satisfaction, and also customer satisfaction is part of the driver to the board of management. And the customer also want to be satisfied. Customer also want to have competitive pricing. Customer also want to have a good product portfolio, so that the customer feel like satisfied when dealing business with you. So in this instance, as you can see here, the stakeholder satisfaction also will ensure that the company make a profit. Because how to make a profit? The customer stay with you, customer buy your product and services. So how can now we model the strategy in terms of what the board, senior management, the board of directors wanted to do with the maintaining the profitability. So in the next slide, in this slide, basically, we are doing the modeling on the strategy. Yeah. So you can see here, our strategy is that digital customer intimacy strategy. At the end of the day, we want to fulfill the profitability driver that belong to the senior board of directors. So what we need to do is that in order for us to have digital customer intimacy strategy, we need to have what we call it a capability. The first is that digital customer management capability and data-driven insurance capability. Because why? We need to know the data at hand. We need to do analytic on our customer behavior, customer buying pattern, and customer so-called trend. Then once we have this capability supporting our strategy, then we can also do the outcome. Our outcome is that we need to have best-in-class online customer experience. We need to have detailed insight in customer behavior. And which in turn, this one we realize the goal, like improve customer satisfaction and higher customer retention. And this higher customer retention will guarantee us increase in revenue, because why? Customer is happy. They're buying more of our product and services. The same thing with this detailed insight in customer behavior. So we can set the competitive premium setting because we understand about our customer pattern and behavior, and we can increase our market share. With that goal, we can also increase profitability, and we can eliminate the issue of customer defecting to competitor with superior digital experience, because that is not doable, because we have already given them the best in terms of our digital experience, and customer defecting to competitors with lower insurance premium, because we can also give customer a very competitive pricing after understanding the customer pattern and behavior. So in fact, if you have taken this Archimate training, you can see that actually how we can achieve this retaining the customer is that this company adopting using the IoT, Internet of Things. So all the insurer or the client may need to download the application and connect about with the smart devices in terms of their sleeping time, in terms of their exercising, and etc. So with that, the insurance company can give a lower premium and lower discount. Yeah, so all these are integrated and connected within the enterprise architecture map. So digital EA platform basically is not only for architects, as you can see just now, is from the various stakeholders. So you can see here from the head of strategy, for the business team, for the digital team, for customer team, of course for enterprise architect, for the portfolio team, and of course for the investment manager, because why? I need to allocate the budget this year. How are we going to spend on the digital transformation? So the map, just now, the gap that we have developed, we can present this to the investment team, because what happened is that the enterprise architects need to think like the investor. If someone want to invest in the particular investment, what do they need to see? They want to see the return. So how can now enterprise architects present the return of the investment to the finance, to the key stakeholders, so that they allocate the budget? So this is something very, very critical in our life, that I have seen many enterprise architecture out there are not able to carry out this task. And most of the time is that they don't have the budget given to them, because they don't know how to present their cases as an investment. If you know the investment concept is that people will only invest when they have the high return. So how can now we present the high return on our enterprise architecture or digital transformation initiative? So exactly this dashboard that you can see here, enterprise architecture allow us to present cases to the senior management for them to make a strategic decision in terms of the investment. Because today investment, they call it zero-sum game. Zero-sum games mean if I invest in the particular initiative, I cannot invest in other initiative because we have a limited budget. Unless your organization have unlimited budget, then we can do multiple investment. But unfortunately, everyone is under the tight budget and limited budget. So we need to select the best outcome of our investment. So enterprise architecture is really positioning us in the right position for us to present our investment case. And of course, enterprise architecture also allow us to do many of the strategic planning, so as the command and control, and also doing management of risks, and as well as the procurement of vendor management, also the technology management, technology lifecycle, which is very, very important today in the era of cybersecurity, because what happened is that many of the technology are end of support, end of life, but is still being operated in our enterprise today. So as an enterprise architect, we need to update all our technology lifecycle so that our business are protected. The same thing for the change management solution and the portfolio, project portfolio. So enterprise architecture give us a full command and control of how the enterprise should move forward. So let me just share with you the video, about 1.5 minutes video about the strategic value of enterprise architecture. And you can listen to every statement that, every word that this gentleman sharing in this video is very punching word. And you can see that these are the enterprise architect that have done a successful implementation on the enterprise architecture in the enterprise. Let's listen and watch this short video.
Enterprise architecture is a practice that supports the evolution and change of an organization during its transformation into a digital business. It's really through the delivery of an organizational level architectural landscape that it provides the support of the delivery of real business value. And it gives a systematic and integrated view of an organization's capabilities. And that becomes the basis of how a business can adapt to new trends. So by informing business strategy, business operations, and IT delivery, for example, enterprise architecture can really help organizations address new trends and become more efficient in the way they adopt or react to new disruptive business models, including all of these things we hear about, like the Internet of Things and smart cities, digital customer experiences, and virtual reality. We see Uber, for example, being hugely disruptive in the mobility and transport industry. And enterprise architecture can help other organizations assess their strategic capabilities and to respond to that and react to it and adapt to new trends. Enterprise architecture really helps to understand organizations in a holistic and systematic sort of way. And it's that really provides the firm foundation for evolution and change. So it's really important that business and IT leaders appreciate the significance of enterprise architecture and how it underpins business transformation, and are prepared to invest the time and resources in this key area to help push their businesses forward.
Okay, so this is basically my last few slides. I'm going to share with you on the journey, how typically you do enterprise architecture. So the map, I think I have explained this a couple of times, similar with what in the earlier presented. So basically we need to get the holistic view, the map of the integrated meta model of the enterprise. So typically is that what we need to do, and they got 5 pillars here. We need to have the right framework. So here is like the TOGAF EF framework. So you need to customize the TOGAF EF framework to adapt into your environment, enterprise, because you cannot just plug and play. You need to customize it. Then the next one, you need to have a skill. So you need to have the ITABOK, body of knowledge. Basically, it's about, remember just now, I mentioned that all of us are digital migrant. So we need to unlearn and relearn a new skill. So this is exactly the body of knowledge by ISA, giving us the right skill set. Then the next one is the Archimate, the notation. So it's very, very important. We need to have a consistent and a cohesive communication notation. It's like the music. Anyone can play the music. The music has been using a universal notation. And enterprise architecture also has actually gone through the era of various notation into a single entity. Now is called Archimate. So all the building block that you have seen are based on the Archimate. And the last part is that you need to have the right architecture tool, because what happened is that the architecture tool will drive all the digital map for us to make decision, the dashboarding, and keeping all the relationship intact. Yeah, so typically the journey is that you start from the left, you are going to do a readiness assessment on the how ready you are into embarking the enterprise architecture. Then from there, you model your motivation, basically addressing all the key stakeholders' concern and their drivers. Then after that, you try to understand the strategy. You're trying to formulate a strategy. This is aligned also with what the Gartner mentioned, Gartner predict, that the enterprise architects will perform the role as the management consulting. So management consulting role actually formulating what the senior management, the motivation trying to do. Then with the couple with their strategy moving forward. Yeah, and then include of course the capability. From there we look at the business architecture landscape, application, technology, and of course they got the information architecture there to connect all of them. And then after that we go into the realization, which is the project execution. And of course, last but not least, on the left bottom there is where you do continue maturity assessment. So this is typically the journey on the embarking into a digital enterprise architecture. And with that, I think I will soon hand over to Dave to address some of the questions that you may have. And I will not promise I'll be able to answer all because we are here to learn together. Yeah, so those of you staying in Hong Kong or in Singapore, we have the equivalent drive in terms of enterprise architecture adoption. So you can go to this website, Enterprise Architecture Community in Hong Kong, and also Singapore Computer Society, that I am heading the chapters, and hope I can see all of you again after this COVID-19. I used to travel to Hong Kong very, very often. So hopefully after this COVID-19 settle down, I should see some of you again back in Hong Kong. With that, I hand over to Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. I think Zoom should has a function that can give a big hand to you. Okay, let's look into some questions from the audience, and we start from a very beginning, very simple one. First of all, some of them said your slides are quite blurred. I think it's because of the Zoom connections. Could you share the trainer slides after the webinar?
Okay,
do you mind that?
Basically, what happened is that I will replace the slide with the original, because we can record the sound. So I will separate the sound and put the original slide into the video. So you will get the original one. But that one it may take some time because we need to do editing. But in the meantime,
no problem.
Get the PDF of the slide.
Okay, cool. So let's start some Q&A on the about your topic today. Let's start from some beginning of the how the EA, any tools on the EA that can managing the digital EA part? Any recommendation from you?
Okay, basically there are a couple of the good tools out there that are working. So at this point in time, I think because this is, I don't want to be biased to the particular tool vendor. You have my email at the beginning of the slide. You can email me, then I will answer one-on-one, because I don't want to be, because I don't want to sponsor any tool vendor that are not part of this recommendation.
Yeah, sure.
I know, of course, exactly which tool are working, which tool are not working, because I've been involved in many EA implementation, and we also met with many of our past client and existing client that they choose the wrong tool. So basically, not all the tools are working, and if the tool working, we know I mentioned just now, it's about a couple of them. It's about 2 to 3 that are working. Most of them don't work. All right, so that's my political correct answer.
Okay, I think the key message is you better choose the right tool. Otherwise, it may spend a lot of waste a lot of time on managing the tools. But anyway, the tools are just just a tool to help you to manage. But the key message is to using the digital EA to help your business. And the second question is about the does EA apply to big enterprises only, or how about the SMEs, NGOs who have a segmented business and intend to go digital transformation, I believe, and they probably cannot go top down, so as they have a disconnected system environment to start with. So what is your advice? How can they start?
Okay, basically, I would recommend everyone start small. Even though you are a big organization, you cannot start in the big ways, because you start big ways, anything failure will be catastrophic. So we need to start small, and typically you need to get it right. So I would recommend typically an organization, for the very first thing, there are 3 steps. The first step is that they need to customize the framework, because the framework will define their life cycle. Because enterprise architecture is not a project, it is a journey. So the journey means, if you have recall how the TOGAF framework is, it's like a wheel. So basically they are rotating from left to right and never stop. The wheel is always turning. So we need to define the whole life cycle on the architecture demand and architecture supply. Architecture demand means is that what is actually the key stakeholders wanted to achieve, and how can we analyze into the architecture. And architecture supply means what are the so-called the gaps or digital transformation initiative that we can pass to the IT team, or if we want to outsource to the vendor, we can do that. So that's the first thing first. Secondly is that you need to have the meta model. So the meta model basically it will represent your digital structure of your enterprise. So regardless of your enterprise is a small, large, or even the whole nation of the government, so they need to define the meta model, because currently I have not seen even the enterprise, the large enterprise that they have a very large enterprise architecture team, they don't have the meta model. So if you don't have the meta model, means your enterprise architecture is like very, very chaotic. Sometimes you get it right, and most of the time you don't get it right. So if I can give the analogy of the meta model, basically, if you are talking about information, it's about information structure. It is about database design, database table that you know the foreign key, primary key, how the table are interconnected. So we need to define that one first. So that one is the second thing that we need to define, which is the enterprise meta model. Then the third one is that they need typically to start small. They need to pilot. So they need to test whether their meta model is really representing their actual digital enterprise, basically to test. So these are the first three steps that need to be done first. Once this one is done, then we can expand to capture or to cover the rest of the enterprises to make sure that the digital map are interconnected. It's the same thing like you want to come out the GPS of the country or of the city. You start with the small area. Once the small area, the map working, then we expand the whole area. So that is what I call a start small and prove the value, and from there you can continue on.
Yeah, I think in Hong Kong, it's a luxury to have a large EA team dedicated for the entire EA journey. So for some SMEs or even some small companies, my suggestion is to start from, yes, the same as Aaron said, start from small. We can either identifying some person in the existing organizational structure, so that you can assign some additional roles to them, like EA, but starting from documenting the existing meta model, existing infrastructure, or existing application business architecture. And then we can start from step by step and using some digital transformation project as a proof to whether the meta model works may be a good start from my experience. Okay, let's start another questions. So very straightforward question. How long will it take to document the existing EA? For a bank, for example, for a bank with 200 branches and 8,000 employees, how can the EA information keep updates? And also, how do we manage the change for so many business processes and roles that is happening together?
All right, this is question, okay, fortunately, I have involved in this last bank. Their presence is in about 12 countries or more. So this actually started 2 years ago. We did exactly 4 months, as what just now I described. So of course, this bank, of course, exists in the 12 countries. I will not mention the name, later we do offline to describe more. So basically what we did is that we exactly defining the framework. So the framework includes the EA life cycle, the process, the policy, the governance. Then after that, we define the meta model. Then after we define the meta model, we do a pilot. So in this bank, what we did is that if you're running the bank, you know that the treasury is the one of the most complex core banking system. So we did 2 pilots in this context. So 4 months, we do the framework and the meta model because the bank is huge, it's large. So we don't have luxury to, actually 4 months is considered fast. Because this bank actually, they got about quite lots of the architects. Actually, regionally got few hundreds architects, few hundreds full-time architecture team. So we defined that in the 4 months. Then after that, it took us 2 months to test, to pilot our framework and our meta model. So we did that 2 months by choosing the most complex core banking apps, which is the treasury system. The second one is the most simplest core banking app, which is the remittance. So remittance is about sending money across different banks and also overseas. So we tested our framework, our pilot into this, the most complex and the simplest one. Then from there, we can get the feel. What are the effort to capture the whole baseline? So in this bank, they got about 67 core banking apps and about 120 very important apps. And of course, they got supporting apps, another few hundred. So we haven't talked about that, but we capture the core and the very important, because the core and very important impacting the business. So in short, after the 2 months pilot, it took us another 1 year, exactly 1 year, to capture almost 180 apps into the digital map. So that one is the effort estimated for the large bank with the 12 countries present with a few hundred full-time architects. Okay, so the rest will be much shorter than that. So it's not that taking too long, because what happened is that there will be a standard template that we can expedite the capturing the baseline architecture.
Okay, cool. This is a very practical question. Should the EA team report to CIO, or they should under IT or business? I think we have discussed this in the previous years, but the answer is always changing. So what is your answer today, Aaron?
It's still the same. Actually, this question was asked a couple of years ago. And of course, actually, they got some guideline, which is Gartner did a recommendation. So Gartner also did a study. What are the composition structure of a typical successful enterprise architect team? And what are so-called the structure composition of those who are not that successful enterprise architect team? So let me now share with you the successful one. So typically, if you are in the successful enterprise architecture team, you are either report to the CIO and you have the dotted line to the COO. COO means Chief Operating Officer, or equivalent with other division that have horizontal access. Because as an enterprise architecture, I described earlier, is that you need to have access to the business. You need to have access to the financial. If you are only reporting to the CIO, your CFO will not give you access to any financial information, because your CFO will tell you, even your boss will not have access to my information data. So you cannot present your architecture as an investment, because if you want to present as an investment, you need to show financial data. So the only thing that to break through this wall is that you either report to the CIO and dotted line to the COO, because the COO have horizontal access. If you are under the CEO, Chief Operating Officer team, you have all the access to every division, every line of business in your enterprise. So that's very, very important. And in some instances is that the enterprise architecture team is under the COO. So if your Chief Operating Officer are technology savvy, your Chief Operating Officer understood the role of technology to drive the future enterprise, the Chief Operating Officer would love to have enterprise architecture under them. But again, you need to have dotted line with the CIO, because you need to have both balance between business and IT. So this is the ideal setup of the enterprise architecture team. And for those who are not working so well, is that you are typically just part under the CIO without the access to the other business unit. So
yeah,
with
I think in Hong Kong, we are all undergoing the digital transformation journey. So this is a good chance, maybe a good chance for us to bridge the IT and the business. And it is also necessary for bridging them because of the digital transformation need, and take this chance or opportunity to step in the EA concept and to the management, so that we can put it in a way that how do we bridge the IT and business with the EA help. So I think this is a good chance for us. Okay, let's look into some questions. To any organization that currently do not have an EA, okay, this seems to be a very long journey to them. Yeah, I believe so. how do you convince the management that it's a journey worth investing? So what is your view?
Okay, the view is that first thing first, before you want to convince someone, you need to know how EA work and how EA can benefit your organization. That's first thing first. Okay? So if you think like after listening to this seminar, yeah, it's important, but long journey, but I talk to the management and I cannot describe if they ask the question, then it will back to square one. So it cannot move. So first thing first, you need to understand what is EA, what the EA can benefit to your organization. Then secondly, of course, you need to look for an opportunity to sell this concept to the senior management. Look at an opportunity that when you have something, I wouldn't say disaster, something that are not working properly, and how you can, describe if I could turn the clock back to the way we originally started. If I do it this way, I should have the end goal of successful. So you need to be able to do a marketing pitch to your senior management. So that's what I would advise in the 1 minute answer.
Okay, so we are running out of time, so let's take 2 more questions. First one is, in your experience, what are the top 3 challenges that holding back the EA transformation to be successful?
Okay, 3 challenges. First thing first, actually, the enterprise architecture team themselves. The EA team themselves don't do a right thing. They don't deliver right value. I give you an example in short on the previous engagement. So what happened is that when we did the so-called assessment, we discovered that actually other departments don't think EA is valuable. So first thing first is that we need to reflect what we have done right or not. So first thing first, you need to do correction on the EA team itself. Then secondly is that we need to deliver value. So if we start delivering value, even the value can be small value. The small value means I don't need to full-blown implementing the EA framework, buying the tool, etc. So we show a fundamental quick win. Yeah. So the quick win is the very, very important. Once you deliver value, your other team will love you more because they said, wow, your enterprise architecture is really helping me. And people may not know about enterprise architecture, but they ask, what method are you doing this? I like this concept. Oh, we call it enterprise architecture. So you can get the buy-in. And then the third one, of course, we need to get champion. You cannot do it yourself. Impossible if you are a small team of 1 or 2 person, you cannot be a Superman. You need a group of the supporter. So you need to start lobbying and then get someone with the like-minded, and you need to start delivering value action.
Okay, I think that's the end. My last question is from me. In such a COVID-19 pandemic, I think the economy is not very good. I mean, globally, also I think in Hong Kong, even for Singapore, I think the IT, the budget cut should be quite often in many of the organizations. So in terms of this, many projects will become such as a very ad hoc, or they want to spend less, and they may like to cut some EA teams, maybe because of the difficulties. So what is your advice on to the existing EA team for those people? How do they survive?
Okay, this is $1 million answer to this. Basically, start now reflecting what can we do for quick win. So the key word is quick win. Quick win means what is the matter most to the business. It's not say, oh, I heard about EA, a webinar, I need to get the framework, I need to buy the tool. No, don't do that. So now we look at what is the business, the bottom line of the business. What are the most painful situation in the business, and see how the technology can resolve that issue. So basically now, of course, it's not talking about big spending, but now talking about what is the matter most to the business, and you see how you can apply your EA principle, EA method to be able to deliver a quick win results to the business in the shortest possible time with the minimum or in fact zero investment. So there are many ways to do that, and basically this is what I would advise. I don't understand. Yeah, we need to be able into the see the current situation and find the quick win. Basically, what we call it street smart. Street smart mean you put in the situation and you start thinking what are the area that I can suggest or resolve this issue, particularly in how the technology today can help the business. Perhaps we already have the technology, but we haven't utilized it. And we understand in this context, we can resolve the problem. And the last message for me is that try to understand business, to have deep understanding on what the business facing today, rather than from the technology perspective.
Okay, very good. I think that's the end of today's session. I'm very, very happy to have this collaboration between two countries. And also we are doing the same thing to promote the EA that we have done last 10 years. And I'm hoping that we could have such a collaboration once again. If you are interested if you are from Singapore, you can find Aaron to join the EA chapter. If you are from Hong Kong, you can join HKCS membership. And of course, you can contact me directly.